my friends, welcome to my first IGTV. So I decided I'm gonna make this super informal since the cutoff is 10 minutes anyways. It'll just give me a chance to talk to you guys more personably and a little bit longer than I do on my stories. So welcome. I am currently in a hotel room because I moved to Arizona in 5 minutes. So my cab is coming literally in 5 minutes, so I'm gonna try to make this short and sweet and hope that I don't miss the shuttle. Anyways, so I wanted to address a topic, actually a question that I've been getting quite a bit recently, and that is, where do I start my self-love and confidence journey? So it's like, okay, this all sounds great and you look happy and I wish I could, but how? So a lot of people get stuck on the how, and that totally makes sense. Sometimes I'll read people's posts, people that I look up to, and when they write like, oh, just be confident, or oh, just love yourself, I remember that feeling of like, what the shit? How do I do that? Like, it's so easy to say, it sounds good, but I don't know how to apply it. So I'm gonna start by giving you guys, sorry, my arm is tired. Let's see if I can prop you up on a beautiful hotel pillow. So today I want to start by giving you guys like 3 simple little steps of where to start your self-love journey. Ooh, this works. Okay, let's just hope these pillows don't move. I'm literally like balancing on my knees on the bed. So, like so. Cool. So the first one is this. Start with self-acceptance. So stop focusing on self-love and stop thinking about like, why can't I just love myself? Because that often sends us into self-beat-up. So sometimes you'll read something inspirational and instead of feeling inspired by it, you actually feel more down about it because you're like, how can this girl have this mindset? And here I am struggling to like my cellulite and tummy rolls. And in a culture that's conditioned you for decades and decades and decades to not like those things, you're not going to change your mindset in just one inspirational blog post or video. So let go of that expectation, first of all, and know that where you're starting right now, or maybe you're in the middle, wherever you're at right now, is exactly where you need to be, because in order to evolve, you have to go through all these micro evolutions. You don't just transform like a werewolf into a person that just loves every part about herself. It's very unrealistic to think that you can go from self-hate to self-love overnight. This is why this teaches you to not be in a place of judgment all the time. So even when you're like, damn it, why can't I just love myself? That's a place of judgment. A place of non-judgment is, okay, right now I'm struggling to love myself because I have been taught not to. So my confidence is low because my confidence has always been pushed down by society or my parents or perhaps myself. And this is the place that I'm in right now, and it's the place that I need to evolve through in order to move forward. The only way out is through. So 1, start with self-acceptance. Número 2 is, but basically it's very self-explanatory. Self-love is loving your whole self, your body, mind, and spirit, as I like to say. It's not just loving your tummy rolls and your cellulite. So going back to that place of self-acceptance, you can accept and just kind of be very neutral about your cellulite or the way your body looks, but you can absolutely adore who you are as a person. So my favorite thing, my favorite exercise to kind of apply this is journal about this question. This is a question that I ask my coaching clients. When or where do you feel the most yourself? What are you doing? What are you wearing? Who are you with? What does your full self-expression look like? And then go do that. But first you have to identify, where do you feel the most you? Where do you feel your highest self? And for me, for example, I feel the most me when I'm here in front of the camera. I feel like the person I want to be. I feel like the person I am right now is good enough because I am speaking a message out there. I feel the most myself when I'm communicating clearly. I feel the most myself when I'm reading an interesting book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. I feel the most myself when I'm dancing in my room. So things like that, it doesn't have to be any fancy. Maybe you feel the most yourself when you're cooking or when you're taking care of your children or when you're studying or when you're hanging out with your friends, but be very specific. Who are the friends? What are you guys doing? What are you talking about it? And then go one step deeper, as always, and ask yourself why. What about this scenario, this environment is bringing out the best in me? So maybe that's a person or somebody's personality trait. Like I have a girlfriend who's very outgoing and funny, so I feel very much like myself because she brings out that side of me, and I love that side of me. So realize that self-love isn't just body love. There's so much more to it. And the third step, I just blanked. So I totally just blanked, so I had to switch over to my notepad and see the third step. But I remember now. The third step, micro step to starting your self-love journey is to be prepared for a roller coaster. So I write about this in my blog posts and some of my posts. I talk about my self-love journey like this. I was binging and purging and screaming and crying and calling my friends and sitting in my dark apartment. This was my breaking point. This is when I decided to start healing. I started healing from my eating disorder. I started surrounding myself with different people. I quit competing. I changed a lot of things in my life. But this breaking point where I was just freaking out mentally, emotionally, spiritually was necessary. And that was the very low part of my roller coaster. And then once I actually committed to healing, so this is when I started seeing my counselor, my naturopath, I started stopping working out so intensely, I started only doing light yoga, all these things that I talk about in my posts and videos. Once I actually committed to healing, it wasn't just uphill from there. So although I wish that it wasn't. I would go out to dinner and I would go to the bathroom and do my thing. Or I would just sit there and cry and not know what to do with myself. Or later on when I moved to Canada, I would meet a friend and get triggered and maybe not order coffee or a latte or anything because I was so scared of the calories in it. So all these things, they still continued even after I said, okay, I don't want to have an eating disorder anymore. I don't want to be obsessive about my fitness. I don't want orthorexia, bulimia, anorexia. I don't want those things, binge eating. After that, it's not like I just stopped binge eating, or it's not like I just stopped destructive thoughts. There were so many ups and downs. And I think the biggest place where I went wrong is I expected it to be very linear uphill. So I expected each dinner to get easier. I expected each outing with my friends to get easier. I expected every look in the mirror to get easier, but it wasn't like that. So even 1 year after I committed to self-love, I still sat in front of the mirror and screamed and cried. And then I write this. I say, and somewhere along the way, I began to heal. So you're not going to notice it. It's not going to be linear. You might not even be able to identify it. But you'll have these moments, like I talked about in point 2, where you feel more and more yourself. Because with self-love, you're starting to create another identity for yourself that's outside your body, that's outside your physical, that's outside of what's wrong with you. So somewhere along that way, the healing begins, and sometimes the most powerful changes are the most subtle. So be prepared for the roller coaster, and don't be so fixated on identifying things, putting a label on them, trying to explain yourself. Be in the moment. Like I said, sit in your shit, put a time limit on it, feel your emotions. You have to feel your emotions. And then crawl yourself out and keep going and reach out to Mary if you need a pep talk. And anyways, I am late for my flight, but I hope this addresses some questions on how to start. Thank you for watching my first IGTV. I was a little bit nervous, but I realized I actually really like this format where I get to just sit here, talk to you guys, totally unedited and real and short and sweet and to the point. So I love you guys so much. Mwah.